thank the museum, the leadership and the board, John Swain, and also give a special shout out to my amazing friends now, 27 years. These two men without whom there would not be a musician. Let's give it up for Skip Alston and Earl Jones. Jewish tradition teaches us that it's not up to us to finish the task, but neither are we free not to try to do something. And in 1960, 4 men from North Carolina A&T University, including my friend Franklin McCain, sat down in order that others could stand up. And from here, this movement spread all across the United States. Franklin McCain would later speak at Temple Emmanuel at our Martin Luther King service. To me, he was a giant of humanity. In 1965 in Selma, Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel marched alongside of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King across the Edmund Pettus Bridge. 49 years later, I was privileged to march across that bridge with Congressman John Lewis, and together we got into good trouble. The following year, it was my privilege and honor to organize the National Jewish commemoration of the 50th anniversary of Bloody Sunday. At that commemoration were David Goodman, Andy Goodman's brother, Reverend William Barber, Peter Yarrow, as well as a host of rabbis and Jewish leaders. And on that day, we too crossed the Edmund Pettus Bridge. So I'm convinced, folks, that whether or not we were talking about the 4 who sat down so that we could stand, or Congressman John Lewis, all of us are required to march across, as it were, bridges. All of us are required to march for justice. And just as in 1965, when Abraham Joshua Heschel, the great rabbi, marched along Dr. King, allyship, being friends, allies, working together between Jews and African Americans in pursuit of justice is critical. So listen to this, folks. Listen carefully. In 2021, hate crimes against Jews increased by 34%. The same year, hate crimes against African Americans increased by 32%. White nationalists believe that Jews are plotting the replacement of whites with people of color and immigrants. In Buffalo, an 18-year-old white racist killed 11 black people and wounded 3 others. Extremism experts tell us that this racist conspiracy has inspired attacks on ethnic and religious minorities as far away as New Zealand and Waco, Texas. White nationalists killed Jews at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh and targeted, so we think, Jews in the recent Highland Park shooting. Yes, my friends, you and I will have to work together. We will need to work together. We will need to work together for the rights of all, the voting rights of all. We will need to work together. We will need to work together to make sure that politicians stay out of doctors' offices when it comes to a woman's right to choose. And we will need to work together. We will need to work together against these white nationalist forces who would subvert our country, take it over and replace it with white minority rule. We will need to work together. I want to tell you, we will need to work together to make sure that all votes count and that no elected officials can subvert the will of the voters. And my friends, There are those that will not like to hear this, but we will need to work together to hold accountable at all levels, those who on January 6th attempted to overthrow our government. The bottom line is this, friends. We will need to work together. We will need to work together to combat all forms of bias, bigotry, hatred, racism, homophobia, and anti-Semitism. Together. Together, I say, as allies, together as friends. And if you think for 1 minute that you've done enough thus far, you gotta do more. And if you think that you've given enough money to candidates who reflect the values of those in this room tonight, you gotta give more. You gotta give more. As Jewish tradition teaches, it's not up to us to complete the task, but neither are we free not to try to do something. In 1964, students from A&T marched. 4 students from A&T sat down so that we could stand up. In 1965, John Lewis marched across the Edmund Pettus Bridge so that we all could vote. Tonight, folks, we will need, as much as ever, we will need to join them, to join the 4, to join Congressman Lewis of blessed memory. We will need to join them not only in spirit, but in action. May God bless us in this holy task. Thank you for this honor.